but I'm thankful that you did. Say it with me. I'm so grateful that you love me. Oh yeah, I'm so grateful that you did. Yeah. Cause you did not have to do it. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I'm thankful. Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful that you love me. Oh yeah, I'm so grateful that you care. Yeah, cause you didn't have to do it, but you did, and I'm thankful. Now look, let's make this one real big. You ready? Sing with me, yeah. I need my grateful people. Get your hands in the air. Lift your voice and declare. Whoa, I am. Oh yeah. Oh, I am so grateful that you love me. Yeah. I'm so grateful that you care. The cross, you did not have to do it. Yeah, but I'm thankful that you did. Can you say with me if you agree, yeah. I'm so grateful and you're grateful, yeah. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I'm grateful, yeah. And I realized that the cross you did not have to do. Woo-wee. I'm so glad. Right here, all my grateful people, one more time. Yeah, oh, yeah. I'm grateful. Oh, yes, I am. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. You went to the cross so I wouldn't be lost. You hung on a tree just to make me free. Whoa. I said, oh, the blood. Yeah. What can wash away my sins? What can make me whole again? No. Hey, yeah. Anybody here happy? You're grateful, you're happy, you're grateful. Yeah. You've been so faithful. That's why I'm so grateful. One more thing, hung him high, stretch him wide. He hung it high, and for me, that's for me, he died. Yeah, got up with all power in his hand. Yeah, woo. I'm so grateful that you love me, love me, love me. Cross you did not have to do. Oh, but I'm mighty grateful that you did it, yeah. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I'm thankful. Oh, yeah. Everybody in the building say, I'm ready. Yeah, I hear you. Let's go. If you're ready, army of the Lord, I need you on your feet right there. Come on, shout it out one more time. Say, I'm ready. Everybody put it right there. Okay. I'll see enough of you doing it. Come on. Put your hands right there and say, are you ready tonight? Say,
connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
break. Look at your neighbor and tell him, I don't know what you come to do, baby, but I come to give him praise. Let me see if I got a crazy praise. Like this, y'all.
We started. You don't know? Can you hear me now? Again, this is Herbert Denard.
Didn't get you.
Your phone.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views
Can you hear me now?
of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management,
Hello?
or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
You can hear me now. Thank you, Randy.
Ask Elaine, ask Elaine, ask Elaine, ask Elaine.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, welcome to Ask Elaine. I'm not Elaine. Some say I'm not as pretty as she. But welcome to the show. Elaine had to go to Emory today to do a medical checkup. She's okay, but she's had to be there. And she asked me to host the show. I have me as a guest host for right now, the former mayor of Macon, C. Jack Ellis. I'm Herbert Denard, and I have as a guest Tom Ellerton, the former city council person. He now sits on the Board of Elections. Welcome, the two of you. Dr. Fickman, we changed seats. We're moving fast.
A lot going on there.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tell us what's going on at the Board of Elections and what exactly are you doing?
So we've got a lot of elections going on this year. Early voting is going on for the special election for Commission District 5. And I wanted to come on today in particular because we had some concerns with placement of voters in incorrect districts. in previous commission races. And I wanted to let people know that we have been proactive in addressing that. We have used a new tool that our election supervisor got from a colleague in Hall County. We have basically gone over with a fine-tooth comb the voter rolls on commission districts to make sure that everybody is placed in the correct district based on their address. And what Mr. Gillen, our supervisor, tells us or tells me is that we have gotten that correct now. We had problems in the past. I know that Commissioner Bryant had been vocal and persistent in pursuing this. And I want to express gratitude to her and to others who have been on top of this issue. I believe that we have it fixed now. I am confident of that. But I don't want our voters just to take my word for it. I want them to test this out. And so there are some things that you can do. You can, especially if you should be voting in the Commission 5 race, you can go ahead and go to my voter page at the Secretary of State's office and check your districts there. You can go in person to our office and our staff will help you. Or if you want to call, that number is 478-621-6622. That's 478-621-6622, and our staff will be more than happy to help you. Sometimes there's some confusion also because after the census, there's been some redrawing of district lines. And so the district you used to vote in might not be the district that you're voting in now. But I want to acknowledge and be accountable for the fact that in a few cases, we got it wrong. We're committed to getting it right. And I believe we have, but I want to invite our voters to test that out.
Thank you, Mr. Ellison. And then I think that you also need to make voters aware of the fact that if they were receiving a ballot by mail, and some of the older voters do receive ballots by mail, but they don't get those ballots on a special election. They just only get them on the regular election. I've had several people call me and said they didn't send them a ballot in the last election, and I checked it out and they said they don't send them out in special election. They send them out in the regular election. So I think that a lot of people who may be at home thinking that they're going to get a ballot in the mail need to check to make sure if they have not requested one, they're not going to get one just generally having it sent out like they generally get it for the regular election. Is that not true?
Thank you. I think that's an important point. And there is time to request an absentee ballot still. That election is March 17th, but it's not much time because you have to get your request in, the ballot has to come to you, and then you have to get the ballot back. So if you're going to make that request, I would encourage you to do that this week because we know the Postal Service has been slower and less reliable than in the past. And I hope that will change, but we don't really have control over that. I would also say that you do have two options for early voting if you're in District 5. You have the main office at the mall, of course, and then also at Theron Ussery Park in North Macon. We have had some complaints about the distance from the parking lot to the office with the mall office. And if you have mobility concerns, that is an issue. We are, as I understand it, legally in compliance with ADA, but that still might be burdensome if you have mobility issues. If that's the case, I would encourage you to consider Theron Ussery Park as the location for early voting. And of course, you can also vote on at your precinct on election day. You can again check all that at the My Voter page that the Secretary of State's office maintains. For most people in this county, they won't be voting in this election, but if you're in District 5, you've got some choices on the ballot.
Is there an election going on right now?
Yes.
I mean, I thought I was informed, but I missed it. What is this election for?
This is the special election to fill the District 5 seat that used to be held by Seth Clark. He stepped down when he decided to run for lieutenant governor. And so early voting started Monday. As of yesterday, we'd had a total of 21 people vote in both locations. So we're not off to the fastest start, but we've got the rest of this week and 2 more weeks of early voting. And if you're in District 5, I encourage you to go. If you're not sure what district you're in, please check.
There are 6 candidates in this race.
Do you have a list of them, Dr. Fickman?
Yes, I do. I can look it up.
Okay, while you're looking it up, this is Herbert Denard sitting there for Water Commissioner Elaine Lucas. She had to go to the doctor today up in Emory, and she's up there taking care of her health. And we are carrying on. Second thing, if you want to call in 478-250-1444 while we talk about this election matter. So we have 6 candidates running.
6 people did qualify, yes.
You got the list yet, Doctor? He's looking. And how long will this early voting take place?
Early voting takes place Monday through Friday, this week, next week, and the following week, and then election day is March 17th.
March 17th. I know a lot of people don't know this. I'm not saying I know more than most people, but I didn't. I knew there was an election coming up, and somebody said that they voted. I heard somebody talking about voting. I said, I know we just had a special election for
Senate District 18.
Senate District 18, but I didn't know we was voting again already.
Yes.
So we voted for Seth Clark's position. Used to be the mayor pro tem of the city of Macon.
Correct.
He decided to run for lieutenant governor, which left that seat open. That seat is part of Pleasant Hill and part of Unionville and somewhere in that area.
Correct.
Historically, this is the seat that Bill Randall held for the commissioner seat that he held for probably 15 to 20 years. And then after he died, Bert Bivens III held that position for a long time. And then after that, Carlton Kitchen was in a race with Seth Clark, and Seth Clark won the race, and now he left the seat vacant. And now today we have an election going on, and there are several people running.
And let me just say that we've got a lot of elections this year. So if it seems like we just got through with one, that's because we did. We had that special election, then we have a runoff. Now we have this commission race that may very well also end up in a runoff with 6 candidates. We'll see what the results are come the 17th. But after that, we've got primaries statewide in May, probably a runoff in some of those. And of course, we've got the general election in November. So if you just voted, you may need to turn out and vote again because we've got a lot going on this year.
Okay, now the situation that we just addressed was dealing with the lines. Some people had been to vote and they couldn't vote in that particular area.
Right.
And that was which district?
Most of the problems were around District 5 and District 8, as I understand it, but we went ahead and went through the entire county to basically make sure everybody was correctly placed. Going up into May, we're going to have the election supervisor following the same process for State House and State Senate districts, just to make sure that everybody is where they're supposed to be. There have not been many cases, but this is one of those things where one case is too many if we get it wrong.
Okay, this is Tom Ellington we're talking to, who is a guest. He's a former city council person. He's now on the Board of Elections, and he is doing a good job there and trying to keep us informed on what is going on. If you have any questions, if you live anywhere in that area, you can call in and we can probably answer some of the questions you have. If that's 478-250-1444. You didn't run for office. You ran for office when? How long ago was that?
4 years ago.
What was that office for?
I ran for the chairmanship of Macon Water Authority, and I did not persuade enough people that I should be the person in that position.
That's a diplomatic way of saying it. I must use that.
If you want me to say I lost, that's true too.
I mean, that's a good way to say it. But I'm hoping that if you have a problem, we can correct it now. Our number again is 478-250-1444. If you have any questions on that.
And does Dr. Ficklin have that list of candidates for District 5? I think some of our listeners might want to hear that.
Well, I didn't. I can remember some of them, but I didn't want to call the names and miss anybody. But the candidates are Andrea Cook, Edward Foster, Chester Gibbs, and the next person is a person that I didn't want to miss. And that person is Miss Hill, as far as I can see. And then we have Mr. Justice and Miss Landrum. Those are the persons who are running, 6 candidates.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Somebody wrote in and asked, Patrick Davis, he asked, should the mayor have an impact in choosing who the election supervisor is? Mayor Miller went, when you get old, you don't see well. Mayor Miller went to court to establish control back in 2023. Should Bibb County Board of Election be independent of the mayor, and should local legislation be needed to establish the independence of the Board of Elections?
That's a great question. And if we were going to change the status quo, the short answer is that local legislation would be needed. I want to assure people that the mayor is not interfering with us as a board in terms of our independent decision making. The decisions that I make are guided by the law and my conscience and by nothing else. Our relationship with Macon-Bibb County is that the courts have said we're a constituent unit of Macon-Bibb County. The law has always been, in this particular situation, that the Board of Commissioners has a say in choosing who the election supervisor is. Getting back to 2022, 2023, before my time on this board, my understanding is that a recommendation was made by the Board of Elections, and in that case, the Board of Commissioners did not sign off on that. That was not illegal, but it was not customary. It was different than the practice had been in the past.
I appreciate you stopping by, Tom. It's good to see you. I understand you're putting the book out pretty soon.
I am. It's called Government Without Newspapers, and it's about what happens in communities where you have no local news covering the elements of government. So that should be out hopefully later this year. My publisher tells me that the manuscript has gone to the production team, and so I'm just waiting to hear words on next steps. And I would be happy to come back sometime and talk about that when the time is right.
Well, I'm going to leave that to Commissioner Lucas. I'm sure she will, but
it sounds like an interesting topic.
It's just the discussion we had earlier. It's very interesting, especially with the way things are going now, and coverage in a lot of places is not there. They don't go into detail asking a lot of questions, but I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to be here.
Again, Tom Ellerton from the Board of Elections. We carrying on. For those that just joined us, Elaine Lucas had to go to the doctor today, and she couldn't make it here, and she will be back next week. So you got to check on yourself when you having issues or just concerned about your own health. You have to check on yourself. We are welcoming now C. Jack Ellis. He's with us, and what I want to know, Mayor Ellis, tell us an event that you are putting forth and that you have planned recently.
Well, thank you, Herbert. Good to be with you, and we wish Elaine well. You said she was under the weather somewhat. We wish her well, and we miss her. But when you say an event that I'm planning, I want it to be a community event. It's not about C. Jack Ellis. It's about Reverend Jesse Jackson, what he meant not only to me and you and so many other people in this community, but what he meant to the community at large, especially when we just got through talking about voting. I don't think anyone registered more people to vote and was more keen as to the power of the vote than Reverend Jesse Jackson. So yes, we are planning on celebrating him, memorializing him, if you will, on the 7th of March. That's the same day that he will have his memorial services in Chicago. And we're going to do it at 10 o'clock in the morning here. And why 10 o'clock in the morning? Why not later in the day? And we're going to do it at Rosa Parks Square. Dr. Ficklin has been generous enough, and the city has been generous enough to make sure that the space is available. And that's what, and it's very fitting that that would be the first major event that we will have in a place called Rosa Parks Square, because we know that when you connect Rosa Parks to Dr. King, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and Jesse Jackson, they're all connected in some way. So we want to do this at 10 a.m. in the morning so that people, if they want to go home and watch the main service being streamed on I'm sure it'll be on one streaming service. Hopefully it'll be on live on one of the networks, but I don't think that has been announced as of yet. So we'll have an opportunity here in Macon to show our appreciation, to memorialize Jesse Jackson, who was a lieutenant of Dr. King, was with them there in Memphis on that fateful day. And in addition to that, Herbert, I think now that we have witnessed over the last couple of weeks here in our city so much violence, and of course we know Dr. King and Jesse was all about nonviolence, but we've witnessed so much violence in our community, and our community needs to be healed. So we're going to hopefully not only memorialize Dr. King, but it'll be a time that we can talk about healing our community. So we have a memorial services memorialized, as well as have a healing service that we can speak to the youth and the elderly and everyone in our community about nonviolence, about healing, and about coming together as a community to stop some of the mayhem, if you will, that's going on in our town. But the main purpose of this event, of course, when we started, this was about memorial of Reverend Jackson. But now I think we would be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity. If we have, we want to hopefully have a big crowd gathering, people come out and support the memory of Reverend Jackson, but also support the healing of our community.
I agree with you 1,000%. But let me say this first of all. Let's get this clear. When is the event, the date?
March 7th at 10 a.m. That's Saturday from 1 week from Saturday coming. March the 7th at Rosa Parks Square at 10 a.m. on the 7th. And we're going to have speakers. We hope to have, hopefully you will be speaking, Herbert, as well, and Dr. Ficklin and others who were part of the civil rights movement here in Macon. But we just can't look back. We ought to look forward. So we want to make sure young people are on the program as well, that we can speak about where do we go from here? The same question that Dr. King asked us in 1968, his last book that he wrote, where do we go from here, community or chaos? And we cannot accept the fact that we are have this chaos going on in our community. So we've got to ask that same question of ourselves. Where do we go from here as a community?
I agree 1,000% again, but Dr. Ficklin,
Yes, sir.
I want to know who are all the people that's going to be on the program, if you have that now.
Yeah, the people that are going to be on the program, I think you did a calendar just recently where we had the people who were with Jesse Jackson had some event that we had in Macon, and basically those are people who have gotten out, as Mayor Ellis has already said, gotten their feet wet and done the kinds of things in our community that needed to be done and continue to need to be done. And we're going to have Mr. Alex Habersham, who was also on that picture. He was very early on in, we were with Jesse Jackson and making plans and strategies to change Macon for the better. Yourself, Herbert Denard, I'm going to be there. And then, of course, we have Dr. Thelma Dillon, who also was a very wonderful freedom fighter from a very early age. And we have to never forget that her mother is the one who filed the suit to integrate the schools here in Bibb County. And then we have Judge Billy Randall. His father and his family have just really given so much towards making sure that equality and justice was part of the Macon view and what we did in Macon. And then, of course, we're going to have Commissioner Elaine Lucas. She and I were Jackson representatives to the 1984 presidential campaign out in San Francisco, California. And so she's going to speak because she was one of the delegates to the convention, a Jackson delegate. And then we're going to have Harold Michael Harvey. He's from Macon. And of course, he is one of the ones who, as a college student, worked with Reverend Jackson in Birmingham, Alabama. They were up in Tuskegee going to school, but there were students from around the state of Alabama who went to Birmingham to work with, I think, Arlington, who eventually became the first mayor of Alabama, but at the time he was Birmingham. At the time he was running for city council. They did not succeed in getting him elected, but Jackson was there and he gave them some very inspiring words. And I think that those words are still apropos to even today. And he's going to come and deliver those words to us in a very unique way. And then finally, we're going to have a young man, Vincent Mohammed, who is very, very prolific in his speech. And of course, he has a lot of rhyme in his speech. And if you remember Jesse Jackson, that was one of the things Jesse Jackson was known for, is his speech often rhymed when he spoke. So rap wasn't anything that was new to them. I think to black people, rap goes all the way back to Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Yeah.
So we can see that this was a part of it, and he's going to be very, I know from this hearing him in the past, that he's going to have a wonderful message with him when he comes on March the 7th. And then we're going to have the president of the NAACP, that's the state president, Gwen Westbrook. She's going to be singing. And then, of course, we have Dr. Walter Glover, who's going to bring us a prayer. And certainly we hope that there'll be other ministers there who will be praying and participating. And as Mayor Ellis has said, we just hope that people will turn out, memorialize this man for the work that he has done. He is a civil rights icon, and we need to remember that he has done much work to get us to where we are in this nation.
I don't know. Thank you, Dr. Fickler. I don't know if you remember Mayor Ellis, but the first time I met you was with Jesse Jackson at the courthouse.
Yes.
And you spoke, and I was sitting down, and you said, covering it with the informer, and you told me you're a Vietnam veteran, aren't you? And I said, who is this guy asking me am I a Vietnam veteran? Because I didn't know Jack. I really didn't, because he had spent a lot of time in the military, and I spent time in just 4 years. Jack spent how many years?
21.
21, and he came back to Macon, and somehow you got hooked up with Jesse Jackson. Tell us about your experience with him.
Well, of course, I moved from the U.S. Virgin. I met Jackson in the U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Croix, and this was in 1986. And he had already run for the 84, and he said he was going to run again. And I told him, if you run again, I want to be on your team. And he said, and he was a friend of the governors that I had worked for down in the Virgin Islands. And when he decided to run in 87, I resigned my job. I was managing a cable television system, resigned my job, moved to Atlanta, and went to work for his campaign without a salary. And a lot of people say, well, how would you do that? Give up a job and go? But I wanted to move back to the States anyway, but that was a good way to get back. And I met with Joe Beasley and Cameron Alexander. Joe Beasley was kind of like our go-to person on that campaign between Jesse and Cameron. So they hired me to do the day-to-day operation of the campaign.
With no money.
With very little money. With no money initially, there was no money, but I did after about 6 months, and I think they gave me a couple $1,000, in reimbursement. I had traveled all over the state, staying in hotels and renting cars, and they did reimburse me for those type of things. But that was the one of the best experiences working with and for Jesse Jackson. The man was so brilliant, understood the average person, but yet could get in the halls of Congress and in Wall Street and make things happen. And I think we have to remember too, as we, in addition to being a civil rights leader, he was also about economic rights. And I noticed that Alex Habersham is going to be on the program, and it's very fitted because Jesse, we are struggling here now, not talking about DEI. Jesse was one of the first person to put DEI on Front Street, if you will, make sure that corporations would have their, that they would share in their profits, and that that if a beer, say Budweiser company, was selling beer all over the country, then there should be a Budweiser beer distributor owned by Black people. And there should be equity, and there should be inclusion, there should be diversity in everything that we do in this country. So if he could spend 60 years fighting for diversity, equity, and inclusion, we sure can spend the next 3 years fighting against them trying to take it away, and that's what they're doing.
Let me add this, and Dr. Ficklen might add too. We had a person that raised all kind of hell against Black folks and everything else, and they brought a flag half-staff for him. And this person here, they let him lie in state. But we here in Macon could show our appreciation and show the community's appreciation of Jesse Jackson by turning out very, very strong on this day on March the 7th. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday at what time?
At 10 a.m.
At 10 a.m.
Yeah. At Rosa Parks Square.
Rosa Parks Square. And Dr. Ficklen, I come right back. Dr. Ficklen, tell us something about that, what I just said.
About
flags not flying in the half staff.
Well, that is one of the things that the president has a call on, and of course he did not allow him to lay in state in the rotunda of the Capitol, and of course the president didn't want it, and of course the Speaker of the House Johnson didn't want it, and he denied it, and of course those are the kinds of things that we get because there is a push, as Mayor Ellis has already pointed out, against DEA. And if you listen to the president's speech on last night, one of the things he said is that we got rid of DEA. That was one of the things that stood out to me in his speaking last night. So there is a push to eliminate those kinds of things. And while we are here in Macon and in various communities across the nation, rather than getting guns and killing each other, we need to be looking at what's happening to the whole of our humanity and the strides that we have fought for over the years and made, and now they're being pushed back. Somewhere we lost the mind and the heart of the people who should be out here in the streets pushing for DEA and those kinds of things. When we talk about Jesse Jackson, we're talking about when we were in our 20s and early 30s when we were doing this. And Jack, I know back in '84 when you were working with him, you were a young man then, about as young as these young people who are out here doing all kinds of things now. And we don't have that happening now. And it's being observed not only by those of us who have worked hard and now we sadly see what has become of our work, but other folk are working, looking at it too, and they're seeing that here is an opportunity while their minds are not about equality, about equity, about economic advancements, about justice in this nation. This is a good time for us to just take it away, all the work that has been done. And it's a sad time. So that is why I was just happy to hear Mayor Ellis say that we need to address to our young people what's going on and refocus their mind and get them into understanding that in a few years, all the things that they are now enjoying won't be there for them to enjoy.
Could you do this for me, Dr. Ficklen? Explain to the audience exactly what is DEI.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I mean, break it down.
Diversity, we've always talked about diversity, is making sure that people from various races, ethnicities, and cultures have an opportunity to the same thing. And then, of course, equity is that if you're looking through, maybe you're looking over a fence and you're shorter than the guy who is tall enough to look over the fence. And equity would mean that we'll give this man a box so he can be tall enough to look over it too. So equity is helping those people who really don't have the wherewithal to do the things that they need to do. And then, of course, inclusion is everybody needs to be included. Blacks, women, different other ethnicities. That's what equity is when we talk about DEI.
Right. I'm trying to I'm trying
because
to teach as we preach to
because-
educate the masses that are listening to us.
But what people have to realize, young people, and that's why we have to teach our young people, we weren't always included. So we had to fight for inclusion.
I understand.
We had to fight for inclusion. We had to fight for equity. We had to fight to even to be in a diverse school where we were segregated. So when we fought for these things, and Dr. King and Reverend Jackson and you, Herbert, and you, Reverend Fickley, we were all out here on the streets fighting for these things. So we can't just sit idly by now and let them snatch them away from us and say that we were on the wrong side of history. We were on the right side of history. They are on the wrong side of history. So therefore, we must continue to push and continue to fight.
Absolutely. Charlie Kirk, Patrick Davis mentioned, Charlie Kirk had flags. This was a racist guy that did everything he could think about to hold black folks back. Went from college to college teaching how to expand the Republican Party in philosophy and demote black folks and get rid of DEI and all these other things. The flags were flown at half-mast for him. They made all these exceptions. You would have thought he was some kind of hero. Just he was doing destructive with the flag, but they were not flying for Jesse. We could show our support by turning up, showing up on this date. When the media look here, when they take things here, they will see the people and the love that we have for Jesse Jackson. That's the main point I was trying to make.
And the respect that we have for his work.
And for his work. I'm not talking about him, just him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about for the work that he's done. Let me say this a little bit. I met Jesse Jackson a long time ago. I was working with Reverend Marshall Stinson, the pastor of St. Luke. And when Jesse had his first campaign, he sent me to Fort Valley to kind of coordinate things when Jesse would arrive. I was sitting next to him, and I was just so proud. My chest was poked out and everything.
You should have been.
But the thing that impressed me about Jesse, he asked me, he had a bus. He asked me, are there any black businesses, restaurants in here? Because we're going to have to leave here. We was on a big bus with Secret Service and everybody else. He said, when we leave here, we're going to get at least 35 plates with chicken or fish or shrimp and tea and all the desserts and all of that. And he wanted to pull all that together. And do we have any? I told him we did, and we ordered the shrimp boat from down at Fort Valley. There's a place called a shrimp boat that's black owned. And I told him about the place. And then he whispered in my ear as we was waiting for the program to start there. He said, black folks must support black businesses. He said, it's the economy, the money circulates more. They got black staff and everything else. And the part that touched me, he said, we need to intentionally do it. Some people will do it maybe haphazardly, or maybe I support him, but he would look for a black business while he was here. If he's going to buy 35 or 40 plates and dinners, he wanted to impact the black business. This was a guy that wanted to intentionally support black business. And that's what he was doing with Operation Breadbasket and Operation Push.
Yeah.
And he did that not only in Fort Valley, but even with the banks on Wall Street.
Yes.
Right.
He went to them and approached them with the same message, is that you need to be intentional about inclusion. You need to be intentional about diversity. You need to be intentional about equity. Those are the kinds of things that he was about. That's what he stood for. That's what his life was about. And of course, I am in agreement with you. Certainly, we need to turn out and show that we appreciate what he has done. And we need to look at our young people and ask them, are they gonna let it fall down from how far we fought and come? As I think Jack gave me a book once, and it was the Dr. King's book. That's Where Do We Go From Here? And it's such a powerful book because it asks the question that we have not answered. We have not answered where we go from here. We have not answered what are our young people going to do. Because Dr. King realized that he was not always going to be here. I'm sure Jesse Jackson realized that he was not always going to be here. But the question that is posed, where do we go from here, is a very proverbial question that needs to be asked to every generation. Look where you are and where are you going to go from here? And that question needs to be answered.
Yeah, absolutely. But let me just say this, coming right to you, Jack. Maynard Jackson used that same philosophy. When he was the mayor of Atlanta, he made the banks get black board of directors on the banks. Yes. He made them do it. If you're not going to get any of our money if you don't do that. He made the contractors for the airport to hire black folks. They have 40% of their work had to be black. At first they said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You can't bully me around. He said, well, I'll go to Chicago and get a contractor that can come in here and hire 40% of his workforce to do this. Because of Maynard Jackson's action, because of the philosophy of Jesse Jackson, we have in Atlanta more black millionaires than anywhere in the country.
That's true.
If we support each other. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah. Well, Maynard, in addition, as Dr. Fickerman said, how Jesse approached the banks, approached car companies. He went to General Motors and said, how many car dealerships owned by black people in this country? And do you know how many black people are buying Cadillacs and Chevrolets and Fords and all this? So we deserve to have some dealerships out here as well. Not that he wanted one for himself, but he wanted other people to have them in the various communities. But you're so right about Maynard. Maynard, in addition to, there was a court case that was challenged later on, they overturned it, but Maynard was the first one to come out talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're talking about including the money. When that airport was going to be built, $30 billion, I think, or some outrageous number it was. And he said, well, maybe I'm wrong on that number, but he said 30% of whatever it is going to black-owned businesses, 30%. And we, the thing about it went full circle. I got to know Maynard quite well. And when I became mayor, we didn't have one firm in Macon that could do a bond deal, one black firm. We didn't have one black lawyer in what we call the Red Book. Virgil Adams got in there later, but at the time he didn't. So I approached Maynard Jackson to do our very first bond deal. We were building the ASA. Henry Will, he was the chairman of the appropriation committee at the time, but we were building the ASA hangar out of the airport, the maintenance hangar. And the very first bond deal we did, because Sullivan Melton had been heretofore doing all the bond work, and it was a guy named David Lucas, not our David Lucas.
Right, David Lucas.
Yes. He would sit around and get all the bond,
all the money.
Yes. And I bypassed them and went and called Maynard to do the first bond deal. And those people got so mad at me. How could you go to Atlanta and not use local people? But here it is. They thought I was going, nothing against Buck Melton, but I just got to do the beating them. So why would I turn around now and have an opportunity to do some work and have some minority participation? And I would turn around and give him all of the goodies. They say to the victor goes the spoils. So we were victorious.
Well, I think he was a wonderful mayor. No Maynard was, but the philosophy of Jesse Jackson was that we, even though we make with government, we should make people do what they need to do. But we as black people, we should intentionally support and grow black businesses.
Yeah, Maynard, but Jesse was more than just a civil rights leader. He was a political leader. He was a preacher, and he was a voting rights leader. This gentleman touched so many aspects of our lives. Now that we see people trying to pull back the voting rights stuff that we fought so hard for. Now they want you to have an ID or show up with a birth certificate. We know that a lot of people don't have birth certificates. We should be able to put our hands on our birth certificate, but we don't, a lot of us. So they're looking for now they want to eliminate mail-in ballots. You know how long we fought, how hard we fought to have absentee ballots, to have access to absentee ballots so people didn't have transportation to move around. And now they want to take that away. They want to take away the economic opportunity, the DEI. And this is something that Jesse fought for. So we here must show our appreciation for him on the 7th, not we must, but we should show our appreciation for him on the 7th of March here in our hometown in Macon, Georgia, where he came through here so many times and preached and encouraged us to be the best that we could be, told us that we were somebody, and told us to keep hope alive. And we must always keep hope alive.
March the 7th, 10 a.m., Saturday, we want to show up and show out at the Rosa Parks Center Square. We want to be there. The memorial service is going on in Chicago, I think at 12 o'clock for Jesse. We want to do it in Macon, and that's the time. Elaine Lucas is out. She had to go to the doctor. She asked me to sit in for today. Keep your prayers for her. She's okay, but just keep praying for her. Prayer always help. She's at the doctor's office right now. Dr. Ficklin?
Yes, sir.
Again, tell us about the people that will be on this program and probably even a few more.
Yeah, there are going to be others. We certainly invite our evangelical community out, the ministers. Just their presence means so much. And we have Dr. Walter Glover, who's going to bring a prayer, and there may be others. Jack Ellis is going to be the host or the moderator at the memorial services. So as he identifies certain people that it may be a time to pray, that he'll be the one who will decide that. But then we're going to have Alex Habersham, as we've already pointed out, someone who is well schooled in economic development and resources in the Black community. And of course, we're going to have Herbert Denard, myself, Dr. Thurman Dillard, Billy Randall, George Billy Randall, Elaine Lucas, Harold Michael Harvey, writer and publisher of many wonderful articles and books. And of course, we're going to have a young man by the name of Vincent Muhammad, who is George Fidel Muhammad's son. And he is just dynamic when he speaks. And of course, we're going to have the president of the NAACP, state president, Gwen Westbrooks, to bring us some selections.
And also, Commissioner Lucas will be there, and she will be speaking.
And we must remember also that when Commissioner and Senator Lucas lost their son, Al, Jesse Jackson, delivered the eulogy here in Macon.
Exactly. That's how much he cared about this community and the people in this community, that he wanted to personally. I remember him calling me and saying, I want to do this. I hope there's I said, no one would be against that. No one would object to you delivering the eulogy of someone that we all love, and the child of someone that we all love, their parent, his parents. So yes, it was a nice gesture. He didn't ask for any money. People, Jesse, sometimes the media tried to paint a negative narrative about Jesse, that he was shaken down, that he was get in it for himself when he went to these corporations. Jesse did not die a very rich man. I think his, they said the other day, his net worth is less than $4 million, which is, people are making that now in 1 year. So for all of his work, all the work that he did, all of the years, he didn't accumulate a lot of wealth. Neither did Dr. King, for that matter. When we look at people, those people worked in it. They weren't in it for the money. I know that you've never been in it for the money, Herbert, and neither of you, Dr. Ficklin. But because what we have done in this community, we do it because we care about this community. We love the community. We love the people in the community. We want to see the community do better. It makes my heart hurt when I pick the paper or listen to the news or whatever, that 3 or 4 young men, and they mostly Black men, have taken their lives of another 2 or 3 young Black men. So now we have 10 or 15 families in turmoil. You know, the ones that's been the victims and the perpetrators, all of their families are in turmoil. So we've got to heal our community. We've got to let these people know that we care about them, that we love them, and that we fought so hard so that they will have the opportunity to do things that we didn't have the opportunity to do. And they can't just turn around and blow it and throw it all away behind nonsense.
I'd like to speak on that also. I talked to the young men in jail today, and we have some work to do. When you've been living a certain lifestyle all of your life, and you're hanging around with certain people all of your life, it's hard to turn around and go and do things different.
But it's not impossible.
Absolutely. I tell them all the time about 50 Cent, the artist. He got his GED while he was in jail, and he's put some investments.
So did Malcolm X.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
You're ahead of me.
Yeah.
Dr. King, when he was in jail, he wrote letters from Birmingham, powerful messages. Malcolm X, while he was in jail, he self-educated himself. They could do the same thing. We all could do the same thing. Apostle Paul, while he was in jail, he wrote 4 new books in the New Testament while in jail. You can turn it around. We teach that every Wednesday. And we try to, you have been there with me. You have spoke to him. Dr. Ficklin has been there. And many others have been there. So we just got to try to turn this around. I think it was somebody got killed, somebody else got revenge, and somebody else got something else. You got to walk away from that. You can't just shoot people. Last year, I think it was 95% of the people killed last year was black folks killing black folks. We have to end that.
Well,
no revenge. I'm gonna get you. You got me and your mother and your sister. And I'm gonna shoot in your house. This is a younger generation. I've lost connection with them. I'm trying to reconnect some kind of way because it's hard for me to understand why we must do this and kill each other. Most of the people in jail in Bibb County, about 90% of them are black men.
Yes, and it's been that way for a while, not only in Bibb County, but throughout the state of Georgia and indeed throughout this nation. We have entirely too many black men and incarcerated. Now, there must be a solution because we are not born. Young black men are not born. It's not innate in us that we are criminals. It's not innate in us that we are murderers. These are learned behaviors. So just as they're learned behaviors, we can counteract that. We can turn that around. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to find solutions, not just a police problem. It's a social problem. It's a social and economic problems. And we have to look at, this is a multi-facet thing that we are dealing with here. And when you look at our sojourn, we in Black History Month, you look at our sojourn here in this city, we have to think about where we are. Now, we look at the larger picture, the state and the nation. But in our city, we look at how we were and how we came and early on in the 1800s, in the mid 1800s, late 1800s, during Reconstruction, you know, what we had to overcome, but yet they took it away and they're trying to take it away again. So if we're not careful, history will repeat itself. They took our political rights. We were in the political wilderness from 1871 until 1974 before we got another black elected official here. We were in the economic wilderness. Our jails were full. So this is not the first time that we have had people to try to push back on us, but it's not the first time that we didn't push back as well. So we have to now push back on everything that's happening and reclaim our community, reclaim our youth, and support our families, man, because a lot of, and I'm not saying young women out here trying to raise children by themselves can't do it. They can do it, and they can raise giants. A case in point, Jesse Jackson's come from a teenage mother, a 16-year-old mother, but there was a grandfather, there was an uncle, there was someone else standing in the gap. So all of us have to step and stand in the gap. When we say this old African proverb that it takes a village, we have to mean it and we have to act on it on a daily basis.
Dr. Ficklin.
It is so good that Mayor Ellis brought up that historical point because when we look back at history, and this is Black History Month, we see that this is not the first time We had black elected officials. We even had a congressman from right
Yeah,
here in Macon, Jefferson
exactly.
Long, and of course, the post office that was so instrumental in getting named after Henry McNeil Turner. He was a very powerful person and a state legislator, but they ran him out. He had to hide for his life, and there were things that have happened in the past at the point that is being made that they can happen again if we sit idly by and not take advantage of the things that are going on. Now they are trying to manipulate the voting districts, and if they can manipulate the voting districts, then certainly we will not be able to have our voices heard and elect people who are going to speak up for us and speak out for the causes that we need to have spoken out for. There are so many things at play now that we need to stop, sit back, and just observe, and then come up with a plan to counteract these things. Because if it has happened before, it can happen again.
We have Mary Butler, Wade Horton, George Thomas, Lisa Watson, Willie Henderson, and so many more. Elaine called them out so well all the time. I'm not as good as her. But we have a lot of people watching. I appreciate you listening to the Ask Elaine show.
We're gonna ask them to pass the word too about this.
We gotta pass it on. We gotta put it on Facebook. We gotta share it. That's how you promote something. You gotta share it. Use that tool to help promote this, to have a turnout, to show Middle Georgia and show the country that we love Jesse Jackson. We like the things that he was participating in, and we need to do something to promote it and help it and turn out and show up and show out. Mayor Ellis?
Well, you're absolutely right. You mentioned earlier about them not lowering the flag at half-staff, not allowing him to lie in the state. But, notwithstanding, let them do that. But what can we do? We have to show that we care about Jesse. We care about his life. We care about his work. And we're going to continue his work. We're going to continue to keep hope alive. We're going to continue to say down with dope and up with hope. We're going to continue to be somebody, and we're going to continue to fight for voting rights, and we're going to continue to fight for diversity, equity, and inclusion on his behalf and on behalf of all of those who fought to make it happen in the first place.
And we must vote.
Amen.
We got to vote, and you got to intentionally make sure your young person that you know, absolutely, if he's not registered, you got to register him, get him registered, and you got to make sure he vote.
But
a lot of them just don't know, and they have guidance.
I understand that there's an election going on now, District 5 here in Macon, the county commission, and we were talking to a man early on, Elliot, from the Board of Elections. He said early voting started yesterday and only 21 people voted. Only 21 people.
I thought that was sad.
21 people have voted on early voting. This should have been a rush to the polls yesterday. This is a very important position. Represents Unionville, represents Pleasant Hill. You can't sit idly by and complain about not having development in your community, not having proper other investments in your community, and then you sit idly by and don't vote. So you got to go vote.
I was glad to say 21 because when I looked, it was 11.
Oh my God!
Let me tell you this. Seth Clark ran against Carson Kitchen.
It was a runoff, though.
No, I'm talking a long time ago.
Yeah, he got in a runoff. It was another young man. It was three of them.
It don't make a difference.
Yeah.
We had a position that Bill Randall held for a long time. A black district. I don't mean a slightly black district. I mean a heavily black district. And I don't have nothing against Seth, but he reelected a white person for a black district. This is that same district. Bert Bivens held it for a while. Now he's running now again, and 21 people voting, and a white person's in the race. Anyway, we got to go. Time is out. I hate it, but it's gone. I hear the Axie Lane sign playing in the background. Thank you for joining us. And remember, 10 a.m., March the 7th, Saturday, Rosa Parks Square. Let's celebrate Jesse Jackson Memorial. Let's celebrate Jesse Jackson. Thank you for joining us. Elaine, will see you next week, same time. Take care.